compared with how science goes about it. America's newest device for raising the wind is in the form of monster machines designed to teach beginners the art of glider flying. Generating wind velocity of 35 miles an hour, they lift a glider right off the ground.
Only twice the weight of their pilots, they're the most efficient flying machines in the world. They'll climb at 3,000 feet a minute through thunderclouds or drift serenely at 30 miles an hour on the breath of wind which rises over Bradwell Edge. Below, outside the hangar, club members watch. The old hands are mildly critical. They know the finer points of the game. They've done it all before. But to the new members, mastery of these sleek aircraft seems as remote as the stars. Here, just as you and I might be, are Peter and Pauline, ready to learn to fly. Away they go with their instructor on the first rung of the ladder that leads to the clouds. To the clouds, did I say? But surely not in this. You're quite right. It's only a slider. The fabric has been cut out of the wings deliberately so that it positively cannot fly. But it does its job well. It teaches the first principles of gliding, how to balance your aircraft, how to keep it moving straight and level. Pulled by a steel wire, it rushes across the ground, bumping, jumping, jerking, but its wings are still held level by the pilot as if in real flight. Yes, if she can keep the wings level, she'll soon be ready for her first hop into the air. Get the idea? Stick to the left, and the left wing goes down. Stick to the right, and the right wing goes down. It's the first thing to learn when you become a pilot. Right, now for the towing cable. At the other end of it is the winch with a 90 brake horsepower engine. The batsman signals all out to the winch. The wire tightens, the winch driver opens the throttle. And she's off. That's good. Just look at those level wings, as steady as a rock. Peter thinks it was easy as he clambers aboard, but he's going to need those straps. Not so good, not so good at all. See how those wingtips are touching the ground. A very shaky slide. Anyway, let's leave Peter for the moment. Outside the hangar on this fine morning, a senior instructor is doing one of his daily chores, routine inspection of aircraft. At least 20 points to examine, 20 checks to be made. A frayed wire, a loose bolt or jammed controls, and you've had it, chum. Still, sailplanes are pretty strong. They're made of Canadian spruce and birch plywood, the toughest in the world. They loop, spin, and even roll. But the instructor checks and rechecks until he's satisfied that the sailplane is airworthy and safe to fly. Like gulls, in perfect silence, held up by the gently rising air. Yes, very like gulls at play. Play over, they land one by one as lightly as thistledown. As a change from flying, members rebuild broken machines in the club workshop. Yes, sailplanes sometimes do get broken, but the art of repairing them is taught at a very early age. A few weekends later, Pauline has mastered the slider, and she's moved a stage further, to a glider that really does glide. She's ready for her first cautious ascent into the air, a towed glide, just a few feet high to give confidence and teach the proper use of all the controls. Now, says the chief instructor, if you ease the stick back gently, you'll fly. Good work, Pauline. And now, where's Peter? A little more practice needed there. By the following week, Pauline has made several flights. She's mastered takeoffs and landings. With each hop, she feels more at home in the air. From low hops of 6 feet or so, she's gone on literally by leaps and bounds. Now she's towed up to over 100 feet. The cable is slipped, and she's left to fend for herself. Steady, steady, and she's down to a neat, smooth landing. The retrieving car arrives. Now the aircraft is taken back to the launching site, where the next pupil waits to try his wings. Steer straight for the winch when you're airborne, says the instructor. Otherwise, it was a good flight. Peter, still firmly attached to the slider and dear old Mother Earth, grimly clutches the stick and wishes it were a tankard of Old and Mild in the club bar. Here, more fortunate members refresh themselves and shoot lines with equal enthusiasm. Here, the aviator's problems are debated. How to tackle the inside of a thundercloud. How to pick up the Derbyshire wave, which has carried pilots up to over 10,000 feet. Here, the plans for a super glider take shape. Here, the bright ideas, the latest are all enjoyed in an atmosphere of good fellowship, tankards, and tobacco smoke. Next door, in the club room, there's more serious business to be done. Flying notices to read, a contour map of the area to study. Here's the steep hillside up which the wind rushes to lift an aircraft hundreds of feet a minute. Your girlfriend may be impressed. But not so much as these young pilots who listen to an instructor's tale of a flight of 150 miles he made a few days before. It's a story of skill and nerve. 150 miles on the wings of the wind. Over towns, over rivers, forests, mountains, a 5-hour battle through rain, storms and cloud, seeking out the upcurrents to carry the glider those few precious feet higher, higher to fly a mile further, higher to get out of danger. On the field, training goes on. Pupils at all stages along the road to the coveted badge of the qualified glider pilot are taking off, gliding, soaring, landing. Taking off, gliding, soaring, landing. Pauline, with over a dozen ascents in the primary glider to her credit, now starts flying a more advanced aircraft. The instructor tells her to make a slow, steady circuit and land. It doesn't sound much, but all that she's learned in the past few months will be needed now. That's it. It's all over. I'm down. Phew. Good old Earth. Peter doesn't think the Earth's so good. Peter's instructor doesn't think Peter's progress is so good. A few weeks later comes the real test for Pauline. Her logbook shows that she's getting on well. She's gained the A and B certificates and is quite at home in the air. A natural flyer, thinks the instructor. She's calm and she doesn't get flustered. I think she can try for her C test. A C test is a duration flight of at least 5 minutes. That may seem a very short time, but it needs all the skill and experience of handling aircraft gained after months of effort. The committee of senior instructors agrees that Pauline is qualified to try for her C. Tomorrow, if there's a west wind, well, this is it. A big moment in a glider pilot's life. Listen to your instructor. Look at the hard black silhouette of the winches half a mile away. Fasten up your helmet. Keep calm. Don't get flustered. A sudden jerk and she's airborne, climbing swiftly to 500 feet. Over the winch, she pulls a knob on the instrument panel and the towing cable is released. Now she's alone, hundreds of feet over the dales in a frail canvas box. She feels the lift of the rising air as she steers over Bradwell Edge. The controls move continuously under her fingers, counteracting the thrust and buffet of the wind. She must keep her airspeed steady at 30 miles an hour. She must watch the horizon, the smoke from the villages, watch the altimeter, the little red ball which tells her whether she's rising or falling. Watch, correct, watch again, recorrect, watch, always watch. Look below for a second. There's the hangar of the clubhouse, and somewhere down there is the chief instructor timing the flight. 5 minutes. She's done it. She's got her C. Good going, Pauline. Peter, a mass of bruises from riding his all-too-faithful steed, is the first to congratulate her. Back at the clubhouse, a more boisterous welcome awaits the newly fledged pilot. But it's all good fun, and presently they sit down to tea in the highest of spirits. Peter sits down very, very gently. And so work goes on in this schoolroom of the skies, where boys and girls, young men and old, learn to outfly the soaring birds. Launching by elastic ropes, pulled by 8 brothers in arms. Catapulted into the air. Launching by winch and cable, with a swift upward surge, somehow into the air. It's a great sport, gliding. There's the song of the wind in your ears, the feel of a machine of grace and beauty at your fingertips, the thrill of aerobatics in fine sailplanes. It's you against the forces of nature, the essence of all true sports. One day, Peter, you too will ride on the wings of the wind. One day.